I'm watching last night because are we recording? Why do I always got to ask that question? Are we recording?
Recorded great.
It was Ivan's turn to record this week.
Oh shit, we're doomed.
Oh no.
We'll be on Twitch right now, nowhere else.
Yeah. Yeah, well, being on Twitch is not necessarily a bad thing.
But shows, I noticed one of your shows got flagged and muted after the fact.
I know. Well, I don't mind what happens after the fact, to be honest with you. I mean, okay. if I get to go through it, and then what I do is I download it, as I'm recording it, because I record it as I do it. So that way I've got the pressing, so I got the thing already out there, so if I put it on Mixcloud or something, at least they can go reference it there, and and that's fine.
Is this before or after you eat the cobbler?
The what?
Who's the cobbler?
The cobbler. Didn't you eat
No, it was blueberry pie.
Was it pie?
Blueberry pie.
Yes.
Cobbler.
Blueberry pie.
Shit, right?
Our vigilant forever. Oh, happy birthday, Scott.
Scott. Yes.
Hey, Scott. Who is walking in the wilderness as we speak, lucky
He's safe
bastard.
out there in the woods.
Is he?
Lucky bastard.
Yeah.
He got out this weekend. He is so far away from all this bullshit.
Yeah, I'm glad he's out of the city.
Yeah, me too.
Welcome, everyone. Episode 102. Squares Round Table. Thanks for listening. Hey, it's Jeff and Ivan and Mike.
We had a nickname for Ivan after hearing that he basically, in the middle of his show, is literally devouring blueberry
pie
or something. Didn't we?
Yeah, Ivan, you gotta eat off camera. You gotta eat off camera, man.
Well, speaking of eating, here comes dinner.
Oh, God. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, our segment of the week.
What's for dinner, Ivan?
Dinner. What's for dinner, honey? What do we?
Chicken Parmesan, spaghetti, and homemade garlic.
Okay, chicken Parmesan, man. Look at this.
I'm so jelly.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
I'm so
You're
jelly.
going to eat that in the middle of the show without sharing.
Well, I would love to stick this through the system to actually share it with you. And, if you were here, I would share it with you. Trust me.
Yeah. Okay. I'm a little bit nervous about him sticking things anywhere, especially chicken Parmesan.
We were sticking beer in people's mouths just a second ago.
That's right. Stick a beer in your mouth.
But it was funny. I was telling Ivan earlier. I am convinced that these looters might be people who play Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, instead of going out into the forest and earning experience points for killing boars, they're just looting the village and gaining.
No, it's not even that. I play enough role-playing games.
Getting booty.
I play enough role-playing games. It's like everybody's like, they brought U-Hauls. What the hell? I'm like, my D&D group would do that. That's exactly what they would do. They'd show up.
They're renting U-Hauls and then they're getting caught. Dumbasses.
Yeah, well, that's the problem. The problem is that they're going to get caught.
Before Ivan starts eating, let's give him ask for a quick sum up of his last 2 weeks.
Outside of being hunkered down, been reevaluating my record collection. Been doing some things in that arena. Been tinkering with some electronics.
Wait, hold on a second. You have an arena of records?
Pretty much.
Really?
I got a lot of records.
Who's fighting?
Let's see. The doo-wop guys are going against the rhythm and blues guys this week, followed by next week when the rock and roll guys go up against the disco guys.
And Ivan will be all like, can't we all just get along? Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Unless we start talking about Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, then Ivan's not getting along.
No.
Well, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is just one little place.
You know who agrees with you on that, by the way?
Who?
I caught an interview locally. They had Dennis DeYoung on one of the sports stations.
Mm-hmm.
And he went off on the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame about how it's not really a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And get this, and I wasn't aware of this, Styx is not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
No.
Get the fuck out of here.
No, it's true. Are you kidding? they've been trying to get into the fucking Rock and Roll Hall of Fame forever, man.
That is ridiculous.
But
that is the dumbest thing I think I've ever heard. How can Styx not be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
Okay, that's right up there with a number of others, which I don't want to go into a whole dialogue.
Yeah, so how's the rest of your how's your Twitch channel been, Ivan?
The Twitch channel has been good. I haven't done any Twitch this week because the social climate, the social climate that, I ran out of pie. You're right. The social climate is just not. I just feel weird. I feel weird because
is it a difficult time to feel like celebrating in any capacity right now?
Right, because there's a lot of people out there that you're angry. I mean, yes, I get it. We're angry. And we are angry, okay? Because these atrocities should never happen, but they do. A lot of these things end up getting swept under the rug, and they do. I am not excusing the looting. I am not excusing the vandalism. I am not excusing any of that. Because personally, to me, that's just being opportunistic, and I think there's no point of it. And the fact that even the black people are even doing this in their own black neighborhoods, I don't understand that at all. Yeah. And the fact that, okay, here it is, you're trying to raise your voices in the name of George, but when you go ahead and you loot and you steal and you vandalize in the name of George, you lose the message, you lose the focus, it's corrupted, it's distorted, and it gets lost. And the dialogue gets lost.
I hope none of this is happening near you, Ivan, in the city.
It is. It has.
Oh no!
Is it coming?
Oh no! I saw it. There was like there were like 200 people marching down the street. And it was
is it down Diversey?
Yes.
It was going on down Diversey?
Oh yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Like Milwaukee and Diversey. We've had damage. We've had looting.
Oh yeah.
We've had episodes. The cops have been down here. Last night was horrifying.
Is the curfew in effect now?
The curfew is still in effect, and right now, as we speak, Governor Pritzker has called in 250 more National Guardsmen, in addition to the 300 that are already out, 375 that are already out there.
Well, he can deploy in the state, but is Lori in charge of all that? Yeah.
And of course, I've been watching the news on Channel 7, and I've been following the strategy that they're going to put up front and center.
Apparently so have the looters, by the way.
Well, okay.
Apparently,
and the looters are just and finding out too that the looters are not local looters.
Yeah.
A lot of them
they're coming from out of state. Yeah,
out of state.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different things going on. All I know is you were watching Channel 7. You saw the strip mall where they were on it for 15 minutes.
Yeah, there were. Who would rate a Family Dollar? That's garbage in there.
A bunch of cheap motherfuckers.
Yeah. There you go. Did you catch the guy who literally brought his car up to the mattress store and is loading mattresses and strapping over to the top of the car? I mean, holy shit!
Did you not see the guys going into the one Walgreens and the guy walking the shopping cart of stuff? People taking toilet paper.
Dudes loading up their shopping cart full of tampons. What?
I'm okay, that's a problem.
Wow, yeah, that's a different type of problem.
Okay.
Well, let's just all agree that what happened to Mr. Floyd was terrible and evil.
Absolutely.
And also this rioting and looting is also evil.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
I'm telling you, like I said, I mean, to me, I'm sitting there and I'm watching how some of these guys are doing it, and I'm okay, what's my D&D group doing out there? I swear to God.
It's because they made it systematic. It's systematic. They made it systematic.
Yeah, well, that's what my D&D group would do. It's
well,
it's just funny because I'm there are people on social media who are nobody would really do that. That's really out there. And I'm like, my D&D group would have figured that out in about 5 minutes. That would have been part of the plan.
I can see your D&D group going into maybe a GameStop and, robbing a bunch of games.
No, I'm talking about like big places like that. Well, they would go to the dollar store.
Target or Walmart.
Right. Yeah, like big screens and all that shit. And...
Yeah, this is not your chance to buy television to honor George Floyd's life.
No.
Why? Well, they weren't buying it. They were taking it with the 5-figure discount.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
No. It's
that's an atrocity, man.
I just like I said, that was the only thing I found amusing about all of it. Is
right.
I'm literally sitting there and I'm like, my D&D group would do that. They just play a lot of Dungeons and Dragons.
Now, if you want to take like 10 minutes or whatever and bow out and eat your dinner, and Jeff and I will discuss here for a little while.
Okay, I will do that.
Okay, man.
Sorry, was it tasting too good? Hold on.
I gotta remember, what was the nickname that was it? Who had Scott had a nickname for it.
No, I coined the phrase.
Was it?
When I found out, when Scott told me that Ivan was eating blueberry pie on the show, I coined the phrase DJ Buffet.
Oh, that's what it was. That's what it was.
I don't think that's going to stick, though, but we'll see.
It's sticking right now. I wanted to say it out loud because I couldn't remember it.
Well, it wasn't that good then, if you couldn't remember.
No, it's just been a long week. I mean, these weeks are crazy. You're like, oh, I totally got to remember that. And then, like, the week goes by, it's like, holy crap.
Yes, right. Yeah, I re-listen to the show when I'm editing, so...
Yeah,
that helps me to retain some of the stuff from the content from last week. Oh, I've been kind of busy.
I was going to say, I bet there were a lot of people at the hardware store.
And there was a discussion today because we had like the best month of May ever on record. And if the looters and rioters come to our hardware store, we'd be all like, no, all the white folks bought anything. There's nothing in here.
Yeah, seriously.
We've been busy. It's been an okay week. I started building a shelf for my robots. I went early in the morning when no one was in there. Went to the Home Depot and I got the boards. It's slim pickings because everyone's doing home improvement projects. So I got the size boards I needed and I cut them to size and I started putting them together and drilling holes and running screws in, and I tested its location on the wall. It looks good. So then I got to take it out in the garage and I got to sand it and paint it and put in the lights so it'll help light the shelves up. It's going to look very cool. So when I'm done, so I'm happy with that. I watched episode 1 of Stargirl, so we'll talk about it. I didn't watch episode 2 yet.
Okay.
I hear that's dropped, but and I watched episode 1 of a toy store near you. It's from the same group that made the toys that made us and the movies that made us.
Okay.
And it's just they're finding their home. I think it's on their Amazon, but it's free on YouTube. Mm-hmm. So I watched that. It's a short little thing about it. It's like a features a toy store, a different toy store in America, and how they're dealing with the pandemic. And they also throw in a little toy trivia and a couple of personal stories too that makes it heartwarming and it's very nice. It's good. But I said they're short little 22-minute sections or whatever. And then last night we elected to do a game night. Angry Steve wasn't there. It was just me and Kevin in the garage.
Well, it's not game without Angry Steve.
Game night without, yeah. We had a game night. It was without Angry Steve, but it's okay. I just played a pretty cool game. It was from 2010 called Conquest of Planet Earth.
I have not heard of this one. Tell me a little bit
this is
about
from 10 years ago. I think the game came out. It came with its own music CD. You play it to play when it's your turn, you play this track of this is your particular alien race. Everyone plays an alien race, and you're all trying to take over Earth. And there's no specific locations, you don't get to blow up New York City or anything like that. Just city, town, capital, empty field, mountains or whatever. And I guess there's expansions for naval combat or whatever. But anyway, it's just The gist of it is that you get to select a different alien race, and it's kind of like a 1950s kind of pastiche to it as far as like the weapons and technology that's available. And yeah, it's a race to try and take over Earth and win over as many territories as you can before the Earthlings get wise and build their own super cannon that will wipe you out. And you can play either competitively against like different aliens, like each of you are competing to see who will defeat the Earthlings and any other aliens too, or you could play aliens versus all the Earthlings.
Okay.
But it was fun. I liked it.
I just want to know what kind of crack they had, and can we get some? Cause that's...
Crack?
I don't know. That sounds like they were like on wacky weed when they came up with this concept.
Well, it's it's sort of like Mars Attacks, but you're the Martians.
Okay.
But it was cool though. It was good. It's a nice departure. It's a different game. It's nice to play a new game, not just the same ones. You know, like we play the Pathfinder CCG, or we play the Thunderstone. That's another one we do a lot, and the DC deck building game. I have no objection to those games, but it's nice to try a new game every now and then. So
I didn't realize that Pathfinder had a CCG.
Yeah, well, it's a collectible. It's a boxed card game, so it's not like you have to. It's not like finding rare cards that's like Magic the Gathering. You buy the rare card, and then that's the one you play it every time and you win because it's so overpowering, or it's hard to beat the deck if you have that out or whatever, so to speak. Oh well, but no, this was good. I had a good time, and of course we were just catching up because he was talking about how his situation is because he works in the food industry. They brew like beverages. Is like where they get the formulas from the manufacturers and they make the stuff. So every day he goes in, he's temperature's taken, and then everyone has to wear a mask all day in the factory, and it's all social distancing and all that. So they've had to close the factory twice because somebody got sick, but nobody's tested positive for COVID. So. So we're just pretty much getting caught up with that. And as I said, I didn't go inside the house. I just stayed in the garage, and we played against each side of a table. So it's like the scene in Batman where Vicky Vale's like, "Can I pass the salt?" Pretty much that. So, but I had a good time. It was good to catch up with a friend of mine, and hopefully, as things get more relaxed and as the numbers go down, we can go back to some sense of normalcy. But the thing is that we were in the garage, and we had to close the garage door because his neighbors were having a big-ass party. Like, God, for crying out loud.
Everybody...
A lot of people will be all like, yay, party time, all right.
No, I mean, people are ready to...
Yeah, they're fed up.
Because I've seen it here, all the little, restaurants in the area are putting up... Anybody who can put up an outdoor thing, they've done it. There's a Moretti's near my house.
Yeah, with outdoor dining. Yeah,
and they had outdoor dining. They were one of the first. That place. I mean, I'm like, okay, there's way too many people there.
Yeah,
already.
And even some weekends where, of course, we kind of gently enforce the mask rule, but we can't be too harsh with the customer. We just got to remind them that. But anyway, so there's weekends where you'd think we were closed for 2 months because everyone's coming into the store.
Yeah. No, I get you.
Yeah. So how was your week?
It was I was all over the place this week. I was someplace that I was up, technically via Zoom, I was up in Wisconsin, and I was I did a speaking thing for Toastmasters for a group up there, and, I was working with somebody who was in a district, working with a couple people for district contests for the World Championship of Public Speaking. And one of them is in the quarterfinals, and ironically, it's somebody I'm working with from, of all places, Indonesia. So I am an international speech coach now.
All right.
Not that I haven't been before. And
all over the world.
was it last week? Yes, last Sunday night. I think it was last Sunday night. No, it wasn't last Sunday night. It was this past week. I was up at 1 o'clock in the morning, and I have to start a conversation because they're 12 hours ahead of us, and it's like, okay, it's like noon there, and I'm like, or 1 o'clock there, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
And I didn't get to bed till like 3 a.m. because I was like, well, I got to catch him. He's 12 hours difference.
Right.
And that's how it works. But trying to think just in general, I did get to see. I caught a couple of things this week for TV and movies. There was a documentary that I've been wanting to watch that I taped off of ABC. That they did was The Happy Days of Garry Marshall, the producer, and it was really interesting. They kind of start from the beginning and kind of work their way through his career.
Is it a documentary?
Yeah, it's kind of a documentary. It's a little bit how can I say? It's a little bit glammed up.
Oh, it's like a dramatization?
Well, it wasn't a dramatization, but there's somebody doing a really bad Garry Marshall impression, being like, "When I was a kid," and I'm like,
"Oh, okay." So it's
it's
a Garry Marshall impersonator narrating.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, at times.
Okay.
But they had. I will say this: they had everybody, and when I say everybody, I mean, they had Henry Winkler, they had Ron Howard, they had. They had Julia Roberts. They had Anne Hathaway. They had Richard Gere. I can't think of a star who wasn't like somebody who he made them, so to speak, that wasn't, Julie Andrews, that kind of thing.
All I remember hearing is that, was it Garry Marshall that his kid loved Star Wars?
Yeah.
And so he said, we got to put an alien on Happy Days.
Yeah.
So it was Garry Marshall's son.
Well, and it's interesting. They talked about that. I can't remember who they said. They originally had the person who they originally had to play the character
of Mork?
was not Robin Williams.
Yeah.
And that person either got I can't remember if they had another gig or they got sick. And then I can't remember who they said basically were like, oh, there's this guy, Robin Williams, and they brought him in, and the next thing you know, I mean, he was all over the place. I mean, Winkler was talking about how, if he went, like, he couldn't get through takes because Robin Williams was just everywhere, and he couldn't stop laughing.
He was so funny,
It was just that good. He was like, he is a comedic.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember he went to Juilliard, and they did. What was it one? It was like, I think they did a documentary called, I think it was Get Inside My Mind or something like that.
Yeah, that did a Robin Williams one. But
yeah, I remember
it was interesting.
They talked about how he went to Juilliard and how he honed his skills as an actor.
But it's crazy because it goes further back than that, because you forget things like, oh, he was like one of the original writers and producers for The Odd Couple. So he goes as far back as Jack Klugman and Tony Randall. Okay, and I can't remember what was before that he was on or working with. And then, he starts to go further into the future, okay, yeah, you had three of the biggest comedies in the in the 80s for TV, and the fact that you had Happy Days, Laverne and Shirley, and Mork and Mindy, okay? And then you go from there to Pretty Woman, okay, in which you pretty much put Julia Roberts on the map. Yeah, you put Julia Roberts on the map, okay? And then what? In the early 2000s, he pretty much put Anne Hathaway on the map too. Anne Hathaway is probably one of the biggest woman actresses in the world right now.
What show was that? The Princess Diaries?
Yeah, The Princess Diaries.
Okay.
Diaries. Just like it was funny, you'll get a kick out of this, I didn't realize it. The first role that Chris Pine ever had was Princess Diaries 2.
Oh, that's where he got his start.
Yep.
Old Captain Kirk.
Yep. Now, yeah, so, he's really had a hand in making and breaking a lot of people. Are you
What?
doing drugs over there, Ivan?
Where can you find this?
Okay.
Where can you find this show?
He's snorting the Parmesan. It's got to be out there. It's got to be out there. It's the Happy Days of Garry Marshall. Like I said, I happen to record it off of ABC, but I think it's probably out there. And I bet if you Googled it, you could probably find it. It was really good. They really had everybody. The only people that they didn't have was Robin Williams, and honestly, Robin was gone by that point. Otherwise they probably would have had Robin Williams too. So.
But what year was this? I'll look it up later. So, but this was recent. This came out recently.
It's got to have been in the last few years. I don't know.
Okay, I'll check it out.
I don't know if it's recent.
Because I grew up on that television. I remember having Happy Days
so
and
did I.
Mork and Mindy trading cards,
Sure.
and as a kid.
Right, so did I.
Here's a trivia question for you. What was the first Happy Days episode? What television show did it air on?
Oh, they talked about that. That it was somewhat they talked about that, and I can't remember the name off the top of my head.
Was it Love American Style?
Yes, exactly. Love American Style. It was called The First Television Set.
Okay.
And
it was with Tom Bosley and Marion Ross.
Right, because Tom Bosley just came off the heels of a cartoon show called Wait Till Your
Father Gets Home. Yeah.
So, and then from there, they started with that particular episode, which spawned the actual Happy Days situation. Fonzie wasn't even. Henry Winkler wasn't even.
Happy Days situation.
Yeah. So, that being said,
yeah, we'll check that out. I'd like to watch that because
like I said,
man.
No, Garry Marshall. He was kind of the Sidney Sheldon of the 1980s. Sidney Sheldon was the guy who produced Bewitched and all the rest of those 60s situation comedies in the 60s. If you go look that part of it up, you'll find his name was on a lot of different television shows from the late 50s to like the early 70s. And I think Garry Marshall kind of picked up where he left off. So, and then of course you have Norman Lear, Archie Bunker and,
and then there's Aaron Spelling.
And then there's Aaron Spelling,
and
right?
Then there's Dick Wolf, who did all the Law and Order.
Well, yeah,
so.
Dick Wolf is
a monster.
Yeah.
He's a monster.
But yeah.
That's interesting. I'll check this out.
But I wasn't aware he was the director for the Flamingo Kid. He was. I need to tell you what I really thought he was. Okay, as an act, I hate to say it. The most fun part about Garry Marshall to me is when he's doing some of his acting shtick, because basically Garry Marshall plays Garry Marshall, no matter what. What you do is this and that, and what are you nuts? What are you crazy? Just going over the top that way. The best was. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no, go ahead. I'm listening.
Well, no, the best was. I don't know. Did you guys ever watch the original Murphy Brown at all?
I watched a little bit.
Okay.
I watched some of it. Yeah.
So every so often he'd come on as the big head of the network guy, and he would
he had a recurring. Okay.
He had a recurring role as the head of the network, and he'd be like, "We're gonna put monkeys on at 7:30," and stuff like that. And the best is they got Paul Reubens. This is after all the stuff happened. They got Paul Reubens to come in and play his son. And
isn't that what resurrected his career?
A little bit, yeah. And because Paul Reubens is playing his son, and it's oh, he's such a nice boy, blah blah blah. Paul Reubens was an absolute there's one joke where he's we got to do something about that Seinfeld. Don't worry, Dad, I got it. And you hear this Seinfeld impersonator going, How come my brakes aren't working? What's going on? It's like yeah. But yeah, he was really, I mean, that's why it's funny. I don't know why. I always remember him from Murphy Brown, from being like this network executive who's like a total schmuck. Because he'd say the stuff that you'd think a network executive would say. Like, we all worked in broadcasting. We know what, like, some of these program directors and some of these guys who are ahead of them. Like,
they think they have all the answers, yeah.
Well, not only that, they really would sit there and say, we're going to put on monkeys at 7:30. It'll work. We've met guys like that.
Yes, we have.
Yeah, like Howie Leviton. And
no, not just Howie. There are a lot of people.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying that, we've encountered this character sensibility in our broadcast histories. So it's like, we have an idea. Lou Grant, I mean, and all those type of people.
Yeah. Yeah, but, what else did I get to? So I'll go to the bad movie I got to first. 'Cause it was free. I watched that Hustle movie with Rebel Wilson and Anne Hathaway.
And?
Yeah, that did look bad.
The Dirty Rotten Scoundrels.
Yeah, it's Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, but with Rebel Wilson and Anne Hathaway, yeah.
So, it's funny.
Gesundheit.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
How's that chicken?
Delicious.
All right, I'm glad to hear it.
Glad to hear it, DJ Buffet.
Thank you. Thank you. You know what? I think I might go on my next Twitch feed as DJ Buffet.
You probably will.
My first track will be "Ow."
Why would your first track be "Ow"? Wouldn't it be "Eat It"?
Yeah, it'll be like, "Ow, there's so much food here. Oh yeah, I can see it clear. It's all there, and I want to be over everywhere. Ow."
See, then you could eat food. You could be DJ Buffet. Welcome to my buffet of music, and here's what I'm eating tonight.
Here's a smorgasbord of sounds that I got ready for you, man.
Well, you know what? That's a good deal. You should use that. We should get paid for this. Well, I'm going to make a lot of money because we gave him, like, DJ Smorgasbord or something like that.
DJ Smorgasbord. I love it.
Yeah. So I saw the Hustle.
So you saw the Hustle, yeah, and it wasn't good.
I went in with very, very low expectations. Very, very low expectations. And so when the really bad comedy started to hit, I did laugh. Because it was so bad that I'm like, this is actually kind of so bad it's funny. Kind of funny.
Yeah.
It's funny. Somebody who saw it kind of called me on it about the fact it's like, what would you think if you had never seen Dirty Rotten Scoundrels? I'm like, that's an interesting question.
Yeah, you can't take that back though because one copies the other. Yeah.
Well, the problem is exactly that. Is that I don't
is it a
know
good movie in a vacuum or is it compared to this one?
Right. And the problem is that I think the answer, and the funny part is I think the answer to that question is it's not a good movie in a vacuum either. And I hate to say it, I think the problem really is, and I think we talked about this a while back,
yeah, when we saw the trailer for it, a couple of years ago.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I think the problem is, look, I think Rebel Wilson has a lot going for her, and she's very, very talented, and there's some things that she does well. Sometimes though, I'm just not into her humor because it gets. Yeah,
she was misused in Jojo Rabbit.
See, the funny part to me is that's the only time I've seen her recently where, how can I say, I've actually recently been like, oh, good, finally a role that she isn't being, like, overly catered.
Yeah, but she only had, like 12 lines in the whole movie.
Right, well.
She was in very small doses.
Wasn't she in Pitch Perfect? I mean, this is...
She was.
Yes.
Okay.
She was.
I have the tendency of, when I think of Rebel Wilson, it's like she's got her bag of tricks, and it's kind of like she draws from this very same bag of tricks over and over and over again.
A lot of comedic actors are like that. They have their shtick.
But see, but you know, when you're going from one project to another project, you tend to freshen the stick up. You tend to freshen it, or you tend to put more things to it, or take away things that don't work. And it just gives me, an idea that when.
So here's the question, though, Ivan. Here's the question: is it her, or is it the people who write her like that?
Well, I think that's a twofold situation. Okay, because people can write for other people and click. But then some people can write for other people, and as much as they try to make it work for them, it doesn't always come off.
Well, I think part of the problem is, so here's the thing. There have been too many times where Rebel Wilson has been written like this, and I think a lot of it is, this is what she did in Pitch Perfect, so this is what we're going to make her look like and sound like.
Yeah, just cookie cutter,
Exactly. See, that's what I'm...
And in fairness, if I was Rebel Wilson, there's a part of me where it's like, I'll take my check, please. That's great. I get it. I understand that side of it. That's why, in some ways, I kind of laugh, Mike, because really, in reality, Jojo Rabbit's the first thing I've seen her in a while where it's like, okay, she's taking an opportunity to try to do something different for people to see her in a different light. And you know what? It's only 12 lines, but you know what? She got written a little bit better.
Yeah.
And you know what? She proved to me.
To Taika's credit, she had just enough of her in it to.
Right. Yeah. Well, but that tells me exactly what I need to know, which is, okay, it's a bunch of guys who were writing her poorly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Or just some people tend to write people too close to their own personality to see a differentiation.
Because I will give her this. She does physical comedy really, really well. She does. She does. I'll give her all the credit in the world for the fact that she's willing to do some of the stuff that she does. It's just I think that it gets a little too...
Well, it gets old quick.
Well, it gets dumb. And in fairness, I will say, just to be clear, this is not a man-woman thing, because I have the same reaction. I have the same reaction with, what's his name? Is it Seth Rogen or some of the others when they get really ridiculous like that sometimes, and it's like, okay.
A little too pratfally.
Yeah, or too...
Well, you got Rebel Wilson hanging upside down on the stage with her butt shown, which that was funny as hell. That was funny as hell. Okay, but then to try to do that over and over again, it's not going to be funny. It's funny that time.
So the other part is twofold. So let me go here as long as we're talking about, because I have a feeling neither of you guys are going to watch this movie anyway. There are sections that they literally, it's like, we're at this point in the movie, this has to happen. Where they literally take it straight from the original Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, where it's like, literally that's the playbook they're following, and they're not like making it their own in any way, shape, or form.
Plagiarizing.
Well, in fairness, I think they own the script, so it's basically a rewrite kind of thing, except they're calling it the Hustle. So it's not a big deal.
They changed the names, and the rest of it's the same.
Right.
I get it.
And the only thing I will say is, Anne Hathaway ain't all that great in this thing either. Anne Hathaway ain't all that great in this thing either, and I wonder, and you guys are going to find this amusing, of course Anne Hathaway's playing the Michael Caine type character, and Rebel Wilson's playing like the Steve Martin character, okay?
Right.
And I think it would have been interesting if they had flipped them.
Anne Hathaway has been known to do some great comedy.
Yeah.
She can be very funny. And she's done that kind of thing. You saw her in The Princess Diaries. You saw her in her other movies.
She's done some others, right. She's done some others.
Right. And I'm just saying that she has the capacity for comedy without it looking forced, or without it looking, like, this was written just, for this particular occasion. But yeah, so yeah, it would be an interesting.
I just think it would have been interesting to see Rebel Wilson playing like that
other character,
the refined con artist, versus Anne Hathaway, who normally would play something like that, except now she's playing this vagabond con man, journeyman con woman. And I think it would have been, and I think at least it would have been an interesting twist.
Did it have an? I'm sorry, I just to interject. Did it have kind of an? Remember the all woman production was that Ocean's 8, Ocean's 11?
Yeah, those heist movies,
Yeah, did it come off with that kind of a feel?
No, it doesn't really come off as that kind of a feel. And in fairness, I think it was an interesting idea to do it with the flip like that, because you know what? If you're gonna go ahead and do a movie like that, you better have something very, very different, or do something like that, because Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, even 30-something years later, is still looked at in that way, where it's like, okay, what guy? I mean, the only other way I could think you could do something like that is you'd have to go, and God, I almost hate to say it, you'd almost have to go urban with it, where it's like, okay, Kevin Hart and The Rock, or something like that, and it's kind of bad that way to think that way, but that's.
Well, I think what it is too is that when you try to rework something that works good the first time, to try to recapture that whole feel, to recapture that whole magic of it. And I mean, does lightning actually strike twice? Not too often, and that's been done over and over again in so many other different movies where. Okay, I mean, yeah, you got your number 2s, your 3s, your 4s, okay, but I'm not talking about any of that. What I'm talking about when you go ahead and you change the characters, you change the character sex on it, or you change the orientation, or you change the race of the characters while doing a similarity of the same material. Similarity.
But maybe that's the thing. Maybe this should have been a sequel to Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, or added to the Dirty Rotten Scoundrels cinematic universe.
That's the interesting part too. I was kind of surprised. No cameo from either Michael Caine or Steve Martin. Steve Martin. I don't. In case. So the irony is, initially, because they here's the reason why. Here's the reason why when you say is it I Am Woman, Hear Me Roar movie, and I say it's not, is, in the original, you've got the woman who bilks them both out of the money. Well, yeah, sure enough, this time it's a guy who bilks them all out of the money. So if anything, I'm surprised we didn't get a whole bunch of, we didn't have certain people going, so you made it that 2 smart, sophisticated women got bilked by a man. I'm surprised we didn't get that yelling and screaming. I was kind of surprised.
Yeah, man bad, woman good.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, did they do a similar thing with Overboard?
Overboard with Kurt Russell and
there was
Hawn?
Yeah, somebody redid the movie and reversed
It's good. I like the redone one. I've seen it. It's good. It's solid.
I never knew they redid it.
Oh yeah, they redid it.
Yeah, they did it.
They redid it. It's with the guy from How to Be a Latin Lover, and he falls off the boat, and I can't remember who it is who's playing the woman who decides to pull the fast one like that. Yeah. But that's a good movie. Yeah, okay, there's your example. There's your example of where they remade a movie and it was solid. That was a good movie. It was funny.
That's what I mean. I mean, sometimes you get where lightning strikes twice and you got that sensibility going on, whereas that doesn't always happen. And this new movie with Anne Hathaway and Rebel Wilson doesn't seem like it enters into that situation at all.
Yeah. So anyway, like I said, I would definitely put this on the. If you're, let me say this: if you're going into it knowing it's absolute garbage, okay, you can have a good time watching this movie, and it can be enjoyable. If you're walking into this expecting it to be good,
forget about it.
Forget it. Forget it. You already have to have that expectation in your mind.
Okay.
This is gonna be.
So how many out of 5 yeah mans you give it?
See, that's the problem. If you're absolutely expecting it to be crap, I could go as high as 4. If you're expecting it not to be crap, yeah, it's gonna be 1 or 2. It's gonna be down there. But if you already go in with the mindset that it's this is going to be really bad. You know what? This is so bad it's funny. Yeah, you can get up to 4 or 5 on this. Sure. Absolutely.
Okay, so we'll say we'll go just to say we'll go half and half.
No, we'll go with 1. We'll go with 1 and stick with it. But yeah. Now on the flip side, there's a new Guy Ritchie movie out called The Gentleman.
Oh.
That is out on demand.
Yeah, that was out in the theaters. I think it hit the same time the pandemic did, right?
Oh, is that what it is?
I think that's why it was short.
Okay, so it's our buddy, all right, Matthew McConaughey.
Hmm?
He's in there.
All right, McConaughey.
Hugh Grant is in there. Who else? I gotta look. It's but it's a Guy Ritchie film. And the best way I can describe it is it kind of reminds me of a little bit of a Tarantino kind of thing.
The Gentleman, not the Gentleman.
The Gentleman. So it's, Colin Farrell. Colin Farrell's in it. That's who it is.
Yeah, it came out in December. That's why I got kind of buried, yeah.
Is it that what it is?
No, it came out. It was released in January in the U.S., so that's why it got a very short run. And before...
Right. No, it's very and so it's got a good cast. It's got Matthew McConaughey. It's got Colin Farrell. It's got Hugh Grant. It's got I don't know if you guys have seen Succession from HBO, but it's got Jeremy Strong, who's kind of playing one of the leads in Succession. It's a solid movie. I really enjoyed it a lot. I don't want to give anything away, but it's a solid watch. It really is, and it's really good. I mean, I'm giving it. I want to give it 4.5 yeah mans.
That works.
It's a really good 2 hours. You're gonna.
What's the genre? Is it action, comedy? What is it?
It's action.
Okay.
It definitely has a Tarantino kind of feel to it. I mean, you can definitely tell that there's that Guy Ritchie spin to this kind of movie, but it has kind of like that Tarantino feel to it in sections, and it's done in a very interesting way where they start out and they kind of make it seem like they're doing a storytelling thing, and there's a lot of interesting, weird characters and stuff that shouldn't work that ends up working.
This sounds like a Tarantino pastiche.
Yeah, it's kind of got that feel to it, only it's Guy Ritchie. And so it's like, because there's a part of me at times where I'm like, are we sure this is Guy Ritchie and not Tarantino?
Well, I mean, people are influenced by other people. Who knows?
Yeah, but it's got a little of that feel of where it jumps around and weird shit happens that, you're like, you gotta be kidding me, and, and yet it all works together, and, that kind of weird thing. Yeah, I don't want to give a ton away, but yeah, that movie.
No, but that works though. We'll keep it to that.
We'll
keep it to that. Yeah.
And it's kind of about, I can say this. It's kind of about, so McConaughey is playing a weed dealer from America, but this is all based in England, and he's the biggest weed dealer in England.
Okay.
And you know what? This is one of the better roles I've seen him in a while in too, because he's not constantly doing the all right.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
McConaughey remembering, hi, I'm Matthew McConaughey, and I can act. Yes, you can. You done playing the all right every 5 seconds?
You're good.
Yeah.
Speaking of things that were buried, I had an opportunity to finally see Joker. Speaking of things that were buried.
Oh my God, that's a long time ago. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But
here we go.
Well, because it was one of those visits with my mom, and my mom, she loves to watch a good movie, so she's like, "Yeah, hey Ivan, let's go see."
Not
That's
the first
not
movie
the
I'd
move.
pick to have a guy watch with his mother.
Yep. Nope. Not at all.
Well, my mother's very adventurous, and she's got that kind of way about her. So I sat back and I watched.
Your mother's got a psychopathic serial killer kind of way about her?
Well, no, not necessarily, but she's just got a very open mind. So
Wait, stop. You said not necessarily?
No, not necessarily.
That should have been no. That should have been no, my friend.
No, not necessarily.
Okay.
I'm having fun with you. Anyway, listen. So, so the thing about it was, she asked me, she goes, "Have you seen this movie yet?" And I go, "No. I wanted to see it, but I just never got around to it." She goes, "Okay, well, let's give it a watch." And I says, "It's gonna be pretty spicy stuff." And she goes, what could it be? What could it be?
Oh no.
And I'm like, okay. So, so we sat back and we watched it. We watched it and everything. My mom, she just kind of had both eyes on it. And she just kept looking at it and she kept looking at it. And I'm watching it and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, the violence. Oh my God, the scenarios. Oh my God, the craziness that ensues in this thing. Yeah, it's okay. And, yeah, very, very, very dark movie. But I have to give credit where credit is due, and Mr. Phoenix did a good acting job in it for what it was. Mm-hmm. And the way it was set up, when you think about it, it was a twofold storyline, and it kind of hit you to the tip that, yeah, there are a lot of people out there that have gotten messed up and have real mental illness issues, and how some of them end up, becoming, that type of a person.
And they end up shopping at my hardware store.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh no.
And you kind of look at them and you're like, are you, you look and you just see the soullessness in their eyes. And anyway, so it was just like I'm watching the part where he goes on the show.
Oh, the very end, yeah. That leaves the climax where he goes on De Niro's show, yeah.
De Niro's show, the climax floored me. My jaw dropped. I was like, oh my, because I didn't see it coming. I didn't see it coming. And my mom just sat there. She didn't flinch. And I looked at her and I'm like, she goes, oh my God. I said, you okay, Mom? She goes, wow. It's like an episode of the Forensic Files. And I'm just like, what? I'm like, okay.
Oh wow. Okay.
Okay, so I didn't see that coming, because I thought for sure my mother would have, would have loaded one down after watching old boy get shot on the screen. I know it did me. I'm like, I ended up, I skid marked. I'm like, what the fuck? And I was like, oh my God.
Mike, are you sure that Ivan's mom doesn't shop at your hardware store?
Oh, no, I'm sure.
Okay, easy.
So Ivan skid marked by the Joker.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, I
Joker. All I know is, the movie.
I really am.
For the movie, I have to say though, based upon its story, and okay, yeah, a lot of the graphic violence I could have done without. Okay, I mean, they could have told the same story without it becoming a bloody, bath, a real blood bucket type of a thing. And I'm just thinking, this is hardcore.
The thing with the little person is funny as hell.
Well, that
yeah, when he asks open the door. Yeah.
We can't reach the door.
Reach the lock. They'll reach the lock on the door. Yeah.
I can't reach the lock.
They gave me the nervous giggles because I'm laughing, but it's because Joker just smashed this poor guy's head into a wall, and he's reaching for the door, and he can't make the door, and I'm just like, I'm trying. I didn't know. I was confused.
Everybody's had the same reaction. It's like, this isn't supposed to be funny. This is very funny, though. Everybody's like,
but it's funny because the poor little person is mortified by this horror thing, and he's going for the door, and he's trying to reach the door.
Yeah.
And you're just like, okay. And but anyway, so got through that movie, and my mom just was like, wow, that was interesting. I'm like, okay. My 85-year-old mom, she's okay with this. I'm sitting here shaking in my shoes, and my mom's okay with this.
You explained to your mother that's Batman's dad?
I gave whatever I could in little bites.
Like the kid was Bruce Wayne, who's going to be Batman.
Right, exactly. I did go into that whole thing, but then the thing about it too, especially with the ending and how it all became the uprising and it all became the
rioting,
the rioting and the whole thing that it gave a very dark reality for just the last part of the film, and you're thinking, oh my gosh, this is too close. This is too close to reality, and it scares you. It scares you. So at least it did me, and I was just like, and as far as the whole thing about mental illness, having my dad who suffered from mental illness, so it brought a lot of points home to me. So
it's interesting when you have somebody watch it who does it, who isn't looking at it from a comic perspective, and I think that's why
it grabs a lot of the normies,
right? And that's what the director was looking at.
Yeah,
that's what Warner was looking at, and that's why this movie did well, even though there's a bunch of people who, and in fairness, there are some comic book people who are happy with it. I think it's the biggest abomination in all of comic, and I shouldn't say all of comic, but it's up there. It's up there.
But
even you had parts of it that you enjoyed, so
only one.
Oh, just the one? That was the only thing you liked out of that film?
Yeah, you know what my second favorite moment was of that movie?
Huh.
When it was over.
Oh, okay.
Well,
I'm not kidding. Well, I literally sat there for 2 hours and was like, no.
It makes you want to chain smoke cigarettes?
No, it made me sit there and go, this is exactly everything that I expect from somebody who basically took the character, chucked everything out the window, and did whatever the hell he wanted to do with it. And, okay, fine. You want to chuck the character out the window and you want to do whatever you want with it, fine. But now you've also decided, not only were you going to chuck that character out the window, you decided you were going to basically fuck with a good part of things that essentially are Batman origin pieces.
Well,
just treat it as an Elseworld story, Otherworld story, kind of like a What If, or whatever. Just another universe. That's all I see it as.
I look at it as a standalone.
Yeah, that's what
story
I mean.
That has nothing to do or to connect with the ongoing situation that Batman is. Okay, and
but hold a second. Here's where my issue is with it. Okay. Even if it's Elseworlds, fine. Even if it's not, and I'm okay. Trust me, I walked in with this isn't the normal. This isn't this isn't Joker. I'm gonna put all these things aside. And the minute they started with the shit where I'll tell you what really pissed me off was the ending.
Yeah, the rioting was what caused the
events that turned Bruce
Wayne into Batman.
Right. So the writing turns Bruce Wayne into Batman, and so Batman becomes a symbol of law and order, and to crack down on all of the on regular society, and that basically he's upper crust society's hero that basically is knocking away all of the normal people, and it's like, go fuck yourself. Seriously.
Okay.
Go fuck yourself.
Okay, and granted, okay, I can see your disdain, Jeff.
And how Thomas Wayne wasn't this great philanthropist.
No,
Yeah.
Kind of like
they made Thomas Wayne this heartless piece of shit, because that's pretty much what they came across.
I see it through the lens of not everything that's happening on screen is happening for real. It's only happening in Joker's head.
That's part of what helped me through a lot of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't know what's real and what's
don't know
what's
like
going on in his head.
Exactly.
Like I said, as much as that stuff pissed me off, and you're right, there's part of that. The part at the end with the rationale, and they make and
how his parents died. Yeah.
Right. With how his parents died.
They should have left that alone. They should have left that out.
I almost feel like that was, what's his name? I can't remember the name of the director. Is it Phillips? I think it was Phillips. I almost feel like that was his giant. Hey, you want to watch me piss off a whole bunch of Batman fans? Watch this.
So you figured that he did that on purpose to just see how much fire he could start in the barn.
No, he did it just because he wanted connective tissue to Batman.
Okay, so
that too.
So he just tried to make a connection between this and the Batman universe.
Like the whole scene at the gate where he goes and sees young Bruce, you know, and Alfred I didn't. That was the scene I cared for the least. I like the scene where he meets him in the bathroom.
Now that in and of itself, yeah, it stands
out. The scene
out.
where he meets Bruce at the gate, I don't know about that.
Well, then you also have the scene where they're in the L train, and he was trying to defend the young lady, and how the three guys kept making the poor young lady crazy, and then they figured, we're gonna fuck with this guy. And that was the last thing they wanted to do was fuck with that guy.
He wasn't defending any. He just started laughing. So right? Was that what happened? He wasn't defending her. He was just laughing at me. He had just involuntarily started to laugh.
Well, he involuntarily started to laugh, but at the same time, you noticed that he was focusing on the young lady who was getting stuff thrown at her, and they were just messing with her, and then she walks away, and I guess in Joker's mind, okay, I'm laughing, but I don't like this situation. Then they came over, they're taking his costume apart, and they're kind of like putting him down, like he's been put down through all of his life. I mean, he's had a shitty life from go. So, and then of course the fact that you're left to think, oh my gosh, okay, my mother isn't my mother. I was adopted, and you discover all this shit, and you get these stair steps going you go from the outer sanctum of a little bit of insanity into the inner sanctum of just total madness.
Yeah.
And you're just like, oh my God, and it escalates, because there's a lot of people out there that do go through that for real, and then you kind of wonder why they get like that. Well, yeah, I mean, you're trying to do a decent day's work, and you got kids, fucking with you, and then they bust your sign up, they kick your ass, they take money out of your pay because the sign's broken, and you're going from one job to the next. A lot of people who go through life, being, abused over and over and over again, that would make anybody crazy. And so you almost have a simpatico with Joker in this respect, because you're just thinking, oh my gosh, I can relate to some of those points, because all of us have been,
I think that's the other part. I think that's the other part that bothers me. That's the other part that bothers me. The other part that bothers me is that you want me
to understand and
empathize
relate
with the Joker.
Right, with a psychopathic maniac.
Okay, but he wasn't always a psychopathic maniac. See,
yeah, but here's the problem. You know that where he's going to go and who he is and what he's going to be. I mean, end of story. That you know that's where this is going. And even at the end, when we're talking about the thing with the Batman thing, okay, that whole thing is happening to Bruce Wayne and his parents, okay, and they're making the Joker out like he's some sort of fucking hero.
Well,
in this movie.
Well,
it's not like Lex Luthor who's doing bad things because he thinks what he's doing is right in the name of saving the Earth from alien intruders.
But, okay, also when you look at it, all right, yeah, he didn't do the killing of, Bruce Wayne's, parents. Okay?
But he's responsible for it.
But he was a proponent of what was going on because
his actions caused the riots, which caused
right. He created this movement.
And then there's the scenes afterwards where he's very, very happy about it and laughing about it.
Yeah, having his looking out the car window
and having a grand old time about it.
Well,
and by
okay.
the way, the other part is that bothers me about this is the part that I had a feeling from the get-go, which is
what's that?
Which is okay. This is all right. This is a one-off thing. Fine. Everybody kept telling me this is a one-off thing. It's not a big deal. And I'm like, bullshit. It makes money. People are going to want to do another one. And right away, as soon as this thing got out and it started going great guns, immediately there was the talk of, well, I have a second story, or we've given Todd Phillips the green light to start looking at other characters or other things that he can do similar to, or he's talking about how he'd like to take it a step further with this story. And the only good news is, God bless Joaquin Phoenix, who has basically said, yeah, no, I'm not, I'm okay, I'm good.
I'm good.
He's not the guy who's going to be part of a franchise.
Right, yeah. You want to do it again?
That's not his thing. That's never been his thing.
You want to do it again? You go right ahead. You go and do it without me. And
that's
the only reason that this is, and in fairness, that's the only reason that this thing ain't going to come off the ground, is because they need him, and he isn't going to do it.
Well, he's the lifeblood of the actual movie.
Well, obviously, he's the titular character, but he's not going to do a Joker too. He's not that kind of actor.
The only thing I can come up with is you know how this all starts to get. There's enough money in this where if you've got there's enough money and enough interest. Okay, well maybe we find a way to do this where now we look at the demented world of Batman from this perspective. And it's like...
Oh, so kind of like to do like the Batman Who Laughs kind of thing?
Well, I don't know what you do.
Or even go as far as to come with a one-off, maybe
right.
just as attached Batman sensibility where, okay, maybe this is the mindset of Batman for real.
Right, some weird shit like that where it's a fucked up look at Batman, and it's like, I'm all for fucked up.
No, but I don't.
From this,
no,
this fucker. No way.
No. Because see, number one, I don't think that would work on that plane. Number two, as far as the Joker 2, it's never going to be a reality because nobody else is going to be able to top that particular for that type of a movie.
We said the same thing 30 years ago when Nicholson did Joker.
There's my point.
And the same thing 10 years ago when Heath Ledger did the Joker.
Right.
So and of course Jared Leto, he landed flat on his face. But Joaquin Phoenix, it's going to be a while before someone else does a better
right.
Joker.
And like I said, the only thing is...
But it will happen. So another Joker's going to come along and we'll be like, oh, that was pretty good.
And soon. It's going to happen
soon.
It's going to happen soon.
Maybe. Okay.
No, not maybe, because that Robert Pattinson movie with Batman is in development, and you know that's going to be more than one film.
Did they finish filming?
I don't know.
Before the Rona hit?
I don't know where they're at with that right now. I don't know.
Well, here's my thought on that whole thing. Yes, it seems like the Joker situation is always a recurring one over time. And, so I'm saying, yeah, all right, I'm not saying that it's not going to be next year or the year after, maybe a few years. I'm not saying 10 years, but, maybe within the next 3 to 5 years, there'll be another Joker movie, and maybe they might dismiss the whole premise of the movie.
I don't know about it. Well, so here's the thing.
Yeah.
So there's two ways to look at this, which is, will we ever see anything like what Todd? So there are a couple directions we can go here, which is, will we see more movies from Todd Phillips with this kind of direction and motif, with DC characters that may or may not be the Joker? Okay, that's one. Two, will we see the Joker again, which I think the answer to that question is yes, because there's too many properties right now that DC is getting out there from a movie perspective where I don't see how it doesn't happen. Mike, didn't they just greenlight another Harley Quinn film even after this last one? With Margot Robbie,
wonderful emancipation of blah blah blah. The Birds of Prey,
right? But they've already greenlit another one.
Well, they wrapped filming on Suicide Squad 2.
Right, but they've already greenlit another Harley Quinn.
But why?
Because Margot Robbie is the lifeblood of that DC universe right now.
Well, and she's in fairness.
Harley Quinn's never been more popular.
Right, Harley Quinn's never been more popular. And that DCU show that they've got, the DC Universe show.
Yeah, the animated.
Really
that's not too bad. You got to be in a mood to watch it, but it's okay.
Sci-Fi's running that show now.
Oh, Sci-Fi's running Harley Quinn?
Yeah, but just a little bit more watered down, but they're running Harley Quinn.
Okay. Yeah, it's okay. It's all right.
I watched a piece of it. I wasn't taken by it. I was just like, okay,
it's called,
all right.
Some of it's sophomoric, but some of it's kind of funny.
Some of it's amusing.
Yeah,
some of it's amusing, and it's in fairness,
it's okay.
I've heard good, but I've heard a lot of people who like that thing, and have really enjoyed that cartoon, and it's got good buzz on it. And so, yeah, the answer to your question is, Ivan, is Harley Quinn has never been hotter. She's probably right now. She might be one of the hottest overall. She might be one of the hottest properties that Warner has in terms of DC. DC characters.
I'll tell you what. I'll agree with you on that. I'll put my poker chip down on that. Yeah, I'll take that bet.
So that's the reason why at some point, between the fact that you're doing Batman, you got a new Batman. Okay, you got a new Batman. You got
a new Harley
Quinn. You got new Harley Quinn stuff coming out. At some point, there's a Joker. You're bringing in a Joker somewhere.
Well, that's why I'm thinking, okay, if they're going to do this new Batman and they greenlit this Harley Quinn, I'm sure Joker is not going to be far behind.
I mean, for all I know, there's two Jokers. They're going to be the Harley Quinn Joker and they're going to be the Batman Joker. I mean, because I don't know that they're going to be the same.
Well, wouldn't it be interesting if they were?
Yeah, but I don't think they will be. Because, in fairness, right now, Warner Brothers DC strategy in terms of movies is so action sketch. I mean, just
kind of cattywampus.
Yeah,
no, it's just changing day by day.
Yeah, much. I mean, for example, we talked about Harley Quinn just now, and I wanted to bring this up, which is we all thought Henry Cavill was done as Superman, and now supposedly he's got a deal where he's going to show up in unnamed DC comic projects as Superman.
Maybe you think he'll show up in Black Adam?
I don't know. I mean, this is part of the question I have, which is, I'm like, all right, what's on the docket that he's going to show up anytime soon to play Superman?
Yeah, I was hoping he'd show up in Shazam, but
not so much.
Well, Superman did, but just Superman's suit did, but
Right.
not Henry Cavill.
Well, and in fairness,
Yeah.
and in fairness, he was supposed to show up there.
Yeah.
I mean, here's the thing. You know, does he show up at, I mean, here's an example. Does he show up in the third Wonder Woman movie? Does he show up in the third Wonder Woman movie? You know,
No,
if there's another Suicide Squad film after this one, could he?
Will he show up in that?
Could because that's James Gunn now, and James Gunn has been in charge of that. Maybe that's a hit.
Well, they
Maybe
wrapped
there's
filming
some-
on Suicide Squad 2, so
right.
I don't
So
think
maybe
so. We'd have
well, but I
gotten
don't
wind of it
mean
had Cavill have been
right. But I'm not talking about 2. I'm talking about 3.
right.
You know, well, I'm not. You know, if we're talking about that, this has been. And in fairness, we don't know. Maybe they're going to call it for reshoots, and hey, guess what? Guess who shows up out of nowhere?
With a mustache.
Yeah, you know, guess who shows up? They're Superman.
Yeah.
They're Superman. You know, I don't know. Maybe you're right. Maybe he does show up in the Black Adam thing.
Yeah.
It certainly would make a lot of sense. I mean, hell, for all we know, does he show up in? Does he show up at the end of the Batman movie?
He might.
Ivan,
You know.
you okay? You're
You're eating a mic, man.
Am I?
yeah, you're a little overmodulated.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's much better.
Yeah, you're like eating a mic. It seemed like it, but yeah, I mean, honestly, that's one of the things I wanted to bring up this week is yeah. So
I said,
I mean, I don't know
DC
what
is
the
changing their
projects
movie docket again. So
well, it's not like I said. They're not talking about a Superman film.
no,
They're talking about he's going to be in movies, and I'm like, okay. Now, in fairness, wasn't there a Supergirl film that they're working on?
Was there?
I think they are.
they were working on everything at one point.
Right. They got all kinds of stuff. I mean, there's
Yeah.
maybe he show up. I mean, I heard recently the Flash is back being greenlit again.
Didn't
you know,
Ezra Miller get in some kind of trouble at some bar or something?
I don't know.
This was a couple months ago. Before that was during the Rona. He got in a fight with somebody and
Rona.
I don't know.
Bye, Sharona. No, bye, Corona. Yeah. You know, certainly it would make sense for Aquaman too. Could he be?
Yeah, Aquaman was a huge hit.
Right.
And especially internationally.
I mean, here's the interesting part, which is, okay, you know, there's been rumblings that if Black Adam, that there's certain Justice Society characters that are going to be in Black Adam, and that if it works, we talked about it last week, they're talking about spin-off out of Black Adam for Justice Society. Well, okay, add Gal Gadot, add Henry Cavill, add Jason Momoa, and voila. Okay,
movie.
So voila, you instead of putting
Action.
them in the Justice League and putting them in the Justice League,
Suspense.
you make them part of the Justice Society of America, and
Kapow.
and you make a bunch of movies.
Yeah.
By the way, I just kind of laughed because we talked a little bit about this. I swear, this whole thing with Snyder is that this is not a cut. This is them making something new out of something that they got
From the editing room floor.
right from the editing room floor, and
Yeah.
maybe even bringing people in to do voiceovers and do a couple other things. This is gonna be an entirely new project, practically.
Yeah.
I mean, this isn't.
It just seems like, yeah. Well, we know
Yeah.
what this is, but it's
So you're telling me that from the cutting room floor to piecemealing this whole thing
from the
stitching it
Snyder cut from Justice League. Yes.
Well, not only that, Ivan, they're giving them anywhere between $20 and $40 million to build in.
What?
Yeah, to add
you didn't catch
into
that?
it to finish it.
Yeah, to add into it, to finish it.
Wow.
Right.
Wow. Now there's a gamble.
But here's the thing: is it a gamble? So here's the only thing I'll say, which is it a gamble if you're going to get people through the door to your HBO Max? Because right now. So here's the thing. Because here, think about this.
I'm thinking.
Which is, HBO Max just opened its doors. I'll tell you right now, I've looked at the offerings. Other than Doom Patrol, which was being worked on for DC Universe, that got moved over to HBO Max, they don't have any major DC projects that they have up and ready to go to run just yet. And
they want to have a big tentpole for HBO Max.
Right, and in fairness, that big tentpole was supposed to be Green Lantern, and they haven't even gotten really started on that.
No, they can't film right now. So.
Right, and they can't film. So if you need a big tentpole piece, and what could you find that
would
might
be
be
it.
able
Just
to
use
bring
using footage that's already been filmed.
Yeah.
And then spice it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's funny, like we talked last week because you were here, but they're talking about chopping that thing into episodes. You know damn well if they chop it into episodes, it's either going to be 6 episodes or they're going to put it mid-month so that you have to pay for 2 months.
I think it's what they're doing with Season 2 of The Mandalorian. Like, they'll start Season 2 right when the 1 year, all the people who bought in for a year, like me, raises my hand, Season 2 of The Mandalorian will be partway through when your 1 year subscription is up.
And that's how they bring you back in. The hook brings you back.
Yeah.
Right.
But I think that's what HBO Max is doing. They're taking the miniseries of the Snyder Cut of Justice League and hoping to get some success from it, some subscriptions from it.
Which somebody really believes in that project to throw $40 million into it.
Well, it's HBO. They got deep pockets. So.
Well, I hate to say it,
but there's got to be something to it. There's got to be something to it then.
Or think about this: when we talked about Disney Plus, and when we talked about some of the production that they're doing with what they're doing about Marvel stuff and Star Wars stuff, there was talk that they saw this as a long-term investment where they were going to take a loss leader on some of these projects because they needed those types of things to beat Netflix and to get over the top. And you know what? If I'm DC Comics, if I'm HBO Max right now, and I need something to put me over the top,
that would be it.
And I can't get it. And right now I can't get my hands on any. I mean, like I said, Doom Patrol is really cool, but nobody knows what the fuck Doom Patrol is. Unless you're a comic book fan.
Yeah.
But everybody knows what Superman is. Everybody knows who Batman is. Everybody knows who the damn Justice League is. So yeah, this is an easy sell.
Well, yeah, that you're putting your bets down on a sure thing, almost.
Well,
not a sure thing, but yeah.
Because it's not Marvel, so it's not a sure thing.
That's what I said. Sure thing, almost.
Well, right, and we learned our lesson that it wasn't exactly a sure thing, right? So,
right. That's why I said almost.
So, yeah, almost.
Yeah, I'm done talking about Justice Leagues and HBO Maxes. Don't we have any other superheroes to talk about? Of course we do.
Actually, we do.
Yes, we do.
We do. Like there was a story that came out today that it sounds like the guy who played Quicksilver in X-Men,
in the X-Men movies,
X-Men stuff, is going to get moved over to play him in the Marvel and the MCU. And I got news for you. I like that kid. He's good. Yeah,
that was an awesome scene in Days of Future Past when the kitchen scene, man.
He's been good in every movie since.
Yeah.
He's been like one of the highlights
of those X-Men films of the McAvoy Fassbender X-Men movies.
I saw that movie in the theater. I thought that was a great movie.
Well, I mean, like the last two.
But the thing is that
like Rise of Phoenix and Age of a
because of its multiverse thing, because obviously Quicksilver died in Age of Ultron.
Yeah. Well, they'll figure something out.
They'll work something out where they'll get them to come back. They always do.
But they can.
I still miss one. I still want to see Black Widow. I want to see Wonder Woman 84. I want to see these films.
Well, you're going to see Wonder Woman 84 before you see Black Widow.
That's unfortunate.
Because Wonder Woman 84, they're still talking about possibly here in August. So
I don't see theaters opening nationwide in August.
I don't see nothing opening. I don't.
Well,
And
yeah.
the outdoor out here by me, they running obviously older films. This week, now they're open every day. So this week they're playing Uncle Buck and The Great Outdoors, 2 great John Candy films. So they're doing like genre, kind of family friendly, kind of those kind of films.
They would make their money if they had a midnight show where they went ahead and they just ventured into some of the more meaty fare.
Yeah, but they want to bring.
Wait, what do you mean by that? What do you mean by that?
Buck a wow. No, I know you mean like that.
No, not fucking wild stuff. No, come on. Why do you guys think I got my Disney mind on 24/7? Holy shit! Anyway,
no, I do.
All right, explain yourself.
You called it meaty. I wasn't the one who went there.
Well, okay. Well, what I mean by meaty is I'm talking about the more heavier, like the more heavier superhero films, the more heavier action films.
Oh, I thought you were going like.
No, because they have to get the licensing from the studio, and Disney is pretty tight locked as far as public viewings of their Disney films.
So basically,
when you said that, I thought you were going hot, like Rocky Horror people stoned out,
like crazy, like cult showings or something.
No,
yeah.
No. I mean that whole Rocky Horror and that whole type of sensibility went out with neon shirts, but it just
did it? Don't they still have a showing in the city every Halloween? Saturday night? No, on Saturday nights they still got places that do it.
Well, not anymore. Not the last 2 months.
No, but I'm saying no. But it's not.
Thanks,
Mike. It's not been for a long time though. I mean, I know the last holdout of that whole Rocky Horror Picture Show thing after the abysmal showing on what was it? Was it on Fox? They tried to do a nationwide.
Well, yeah, that was based on the play.
Yeah, that was a shit show.
That's what everyone thought, that they could do live theater, and
yeah,
I like the idea. Unfortunately,
the concept was right. The concept was good, but it was poorly executed. So that kind of killed that off. But
by the way, one other thing, something off of Variety that I caught, which is that I'm gonna butcher this guy's name. Kamala Nujani, I think is how you pronounce it. Did I get it right? I have no idea.
Kamala.
The guy who's from The Big Sick, and now he's going to be in the MCU doing some stuff. But apparently, he was up for a major role in which one of the major directors, in which they were like, "Oh, we need you to make it go a little bit more." How can I say, a little bit more your race in terms of that? And he's like, yeah, if you want me to do that, I'm out of here. And it turns out that role was the role of Dopinder for Deadpool, which means that the director would have been Tim Miller.
Oh my gosh. So he actually shot himself in the foot?
Well, it goes beyond that. It's just interesting because... And this is why I wanted to bring it up, because there's a lot of different directions we can go with this, which is, didn't Tim Miller get fired right after?
They started working on Deadpool 2.
Right. And we just assumed it was, okay, maybe it was a creative differences. What if it was something about this?
I know.
Very well be.
I think it's just Ryan Reynolds has, too much investment in it, and they just saw that they didn't see eye to eye for the sequel.
Maybe that's possible too.
Might have something to do with the studio too. Like the studio had an idea, but Ryan Reynolds, this is his baby,
Sure. Well, in fairness, I don't think this guy would have been. And I like him as an actor. I don't think he would have been good in this role. As a matter of fact, I think he'd have been horrible in this role. He's too deadpan as a comedian, and the guy who they got to play Dopinder is way more excitable, and I just don't see that this guy could have done that. And I'm like, no, you wouldn't have been a good fit for this. I'm kind of glad it didn't happen.
Well, I mean, things happen for a reason. So, in the hopes that that it becomes what we can only hope that it'll become.
Yeah, if it makes a better film in the long run, then we'll see what happens.
Right. It'll be in the viewing.
Oh, speaking of viewing, I saw that you posted about Press Your Luck Season 2 coming back.
Oh, it did. Unfortunately, it technically came back this week. There are a lot of markets that didn't get it because of everything that's been going on. It was debuting on Sunday night, and so, but if you can find it on demand, the first episode, definitely worth watching. It was good. It was good. Just like Celebrity Family Feud is back, and most markets didn't get that either for the first season episode, and those are usually pretty good too. Some of those summer game shows are pretty good.
Well, I like Family Feud. I like Celebrity Family Feud. I'm not big on Steve Harvey. Don't get me wrong, great guy, but I'm just not big on Steve Harvey.
Yeah. Who's your favorite Family Feud host?
Dawson, Richard Dawson.
We're kissing all the women pre-AIDS.
Well, I don't know about the kissing all the women, but I just found him. I found him very amusing. You know, I found him very funny and everything. So yeah, he just had that kind of had that demeanor about him. You know, not that I'm saying that sometimes he tended to come off as Uncle Pervy. What the hell? But, you know, that type of thing.
Yeah, I like the guy who was, played Al on Home Improvement.
Ah, okay. I know what you're talking about.
I will. You know what?
I like him.
I do enjoy Steve Harvey on it.
Yeah,
He's
pretty good. I like, you know, and what was it? Louis Anderson had the gig for a while, and he was okay.
I like Louis Anderson was pretty good. I like Louis Anderson.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that being said, yeah,
there was another guy who succeeded Richard Dawson, and I didn't even like kill himself or something.
Oh, Ray Combs.
Yeah.
Ray Combs. Yeah, I don't remember what happened to Ray Combs. I can't remember.
I think he died. I don't know if it was a.
But
anyway,
but I do like game shows. You know, I've been watching my fair share of.
But yeah, the new Press Your Luck. Ivan, definitely.
Okay, no, I like Press Your Luck.
Chance.
Oh no, I've seen some of the episode of Press Your Luck. I like Press Your Luck. I've also been getting into Wants to Be a Millionaire with Jimmy Kimmel, which I thought
that's been good. That's been good too.
That's been good too.
You gotta have Regis.
No, you really don't.
Yeah, no, yes you do. You need Regis Philbin.
No. Jimmy Kimmel's actually been really pretty good at this.
Yeah, really.
These have been really entertaining. My reaction was yours, Mike. Initially was like, and you know what? No, it's been good TV.
I like the one episode where he had Dr. Phil on. And
I can't stand Dr. Phil either.
No, me neither.
They made Dr. Phil look real bad too, because it's like,
oh my God,
20 minutes later.
It was just like, I mean, the guy looked like an imbecile. It was just so funny. And Kimmel just ran with the ball on it. It was hysterical. Yeah. I mean, he's got this woman back there who was a grand champion on
well, that's the one thing too, is that it was funny. It was cool the first time somebody brought in one of the Jeopardy champions. And then, there was a string of people where it was like, yeah, I got my Jeopardy champion with me now. And I'm like, okay, it was cool the first time.
Yeah, no, everybody has their own Jeopardy champion.
Yeah, and then it was funny because it's like a couple people there was like a streak of them where they had their Jeopardy champions. And then all of a sudden it was like, there's somebody who didn't have one and yeah, I didn't know I should bring a Jeopardy champion. Can I get somebody else?
You know, I missed new episodes of Jeopardy, man.
Yeah, I love Jeopardy.
Yeah, I missed new episodes, and with Alex Trebek's health in Jeopardy these next few months, I don't know. Scared to say it.
Yeah, that bums me out. I mean, because I'm a big Jeopardy I'm a big Jeopardy fan. I love Jeopardy. I mean, put it this way: about a tenth of the time I get the questions, but you learn something as you go.
And then you forget it a half hour later.
Yeah, pretty much.
Just remember, those are three people who have never been in my kitchen.
Who?
Oh, God. So you guys are, okay. All right, let me try that again. I figured you guys would both get that reference. It's an 80s reference. There's the episode on Cheers where Cliff Claben goes on Jeopardy. And Cliff absolutely mops the board as he should.
Uh-huh.
And there's no way that Cliff can lose unless he bet everything.
Right, and on Final Jeopardy, yeah.
On Final Jeopardy.
Yeah.
And the question is, I can't remember what the question is, but the answer that Cliff Claben gives is, who are three people who have never been in my kitchen.
Oh, okay.
And it was funny because a few months later, somebody is on Jeopardy who didn't have the answer and puts that down, and Trebek was not happy.
Oh.
Trebek was not happy. So he was like, yeah, funny. Ha, you're funny. Shut up.
Yeah, the last year since Alex has been diagnosed with illness, and then when James was on, he was like writing, cute notes for his family, or friends or whatever. They do shout outs on the screen when reveal your Final Jeopardy answer.
Uh-huh.
And one of them, I think he was like, "We love you, Alex," and he was got a little choked up at that because he was in the middle of his cancer treatments. And yeah, the last few months, especially when people were like, they at the end, or they run away, or they didn't care, or they weren't gonna win anyway. Sometimes they were gonna write stuff down and just little jokes and shout outs and whatnot. But early on, yeah, there was this show was more cerebral and wasn't taken as more seriously. But
yeah.
Speaking of things we shouldn't take seriously, thanks to our buddy Mr. Snyder, we now have other things that they want cuts for. Like they want, I guess somebody's demanding the 4-hour Revenge of the Sith cut, and I'm like, why?
Oh,
why?
What was your favorite prequel movie, Jeff?
I actually liked Attack of the Clones.
Yeah.
I liked Attack of the Clones. I'm not sure why I liked it better, but I always liked that movie.
Is it because you don't like sand?
Yeah, there's that too.
Yuck.
Yeah.
I liked Phantom Menace. It took us in a whole new world, just like the 2007 Transformers movie. It took us in a whole new direction, and it was a new universe to explore. And the prequels, it gave us, although it had Jar Jar, and Jar Jar was not what we originally thought was going to be. But the Phantom Menace was cool, and I liked Liam Neeson as Qui-Gon Jinn. And yeah, that's my favorite of the prequels, is Episode 1.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said,
a lot of people say Revenge of the Sith because it's most tragic. It's how he becomes Darth Vader. But
I like the speeder chase. I think part of it is I like the speeder chase in the beginning of Attack of the Clones. I think that's one of the better.
Yeah, and on Coruscant, where they're hunting down the assassin. Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the better ones where Ewan McGregor is like, you completely lost him. He went the other way. I don't even know where you're going. And he hops.
I like that dynamic between Anakin and Obi-Wan in some of those scenes.
And then he hops out of he literally hops out of the speeder and thousands of feet
and
in
does
the
a
air.
free fall, yeah.
And he's doing a free fall. And he's like, I hate it when he does that. And it's like, so he does this often? Jumping out of speeders for 50,000 feet in the air? Or all that kind of stuff, and it's like, all that stuff. Or near the end when him and Padme showed up and they get chained up in the arena next to Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
And he's like, I told you explicitly to stay away from here. And he's like, well, we got the message and we figured we'd come to rescue you. And he looks at the two of them getting locked up and he's like, good job.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that reminds me, the pre-order dropped for the Mafex Mandalorian with the Beskar armor. I think I might pick that pre-order up.
Okay, and then of course there's more people trying to get another solo movie, another solo movie out there. I'm like,
so another solo movie.
Yeah, story for Han Solo.
The Han Solo thing,
yeah.
Another Han Solo movie. Which, I swear to God, as soon as this thing hit with this thing with Snyder, there were like 4 things that immediately like
let's all get Snyder-style cuts of all the nerdy films.
Well, it's like David. What's his name? David Ayers, the guy who originally did Suicide Squad, who said that
there's a director's cut somewhere.
There's a director's cut,
yeah.
and it's 90% done, and it could get done in no time flat. And there's a part of me where I'm like, hey, if you're paying $40 million for Justice League, shit, why not?
I still haven't watched all of Suicide Squad in its entirety.
You know, you know what? I'm one of the people who like that movie. I didn't have a problem with it. My biggest problems with Suicide Squad were the obvious ones, which is you have a ridiculously overpowered villain, and I'm looking at who you've put on this squad as to who you're fighting as the villain, and I'm like, I don't see how they won.
So Ivan, what super duper extended cut of what film would you like to see? Pick any film and give yourself you're going to get an extra 45 minutes of extra footage and stuff you wanted to see out of a film. What movie would that be?
Let me think about this a second.
The Happy Hooker.
It would have to be the Avengers.
The first one from 2011?
Yes.
Or 2012. Yeah, that was 2012.
2012. I would like to see more of that.
Okay.
Yeah. Speaking of more of that, I'm sitting here going through some tapes that I have got from my old vault, and Jeff. Jeff.
Yes.
I'm sitting with 4 reel-to-reel tapes. You'll not believe what I found. I found your production reel for Double Overtime.
Yeah.
I found a News of the Weird.
Did you really?
Yes.
Is it the one I'm thinking about? Is it the one where you couldn't stop laughing because you did that thing with the microphone?
Yeah.
You see, I don't think I was on that session.
Let me see. And then of course I found the Incredibly Bad Radio Show.
Oh
from 97.
Oh my God. That was horrible.
Oh, that's why it was.
Well, it was incredibly bad. Yeah.
Oh my God.
And then I got a Jeff Stein interview. So yeah, it'll be interesting to
Jeff Stein interview of what or who?
I don't know. I like I said, I haven't looked at these reels in 20 plus years.
Yeah.
So
Ivan and I did a show just so because some people don't know what we're talking about. Ivan and I did a joke show on some free time in the late evenings on Weef that we used to call IRB.
Yeah.
And we called it Incredibly Bad Radio. And the reason we called it Incredibly Bad Radio is we just didn't give a shit. And we did all kinds of weird things just because we were like, we're going to do this and see if it works. I mean, I think we spent half the show at Echo just joking around because it's like, sure, this is bad, let's do it. That show was a clusterfuck for a reason though.
I remember it being very, very funny because it was bad, it was funny. Oh my gosh!
I think you might have played part of it for me one day back when we were at the station when you just recorded it.
It's so funny. I have friends of mine who are like, I would really love to have heard you back in the day. I'm like, and I'm really glad you never did.
Well, I might have to put some of this out there, at least for us, anyway.
Well, if you do, if I can get it in MP3 form, I got news for you. If I can get it in MP3 format, I'll put it on my page. Or you know what? We put it on the News of the Squared. We'll put it on News of the Squared page. We'll put these things out there and watch people go.
What?
Yeah, I love to hear old segments of our shows.
Yeah.
Here we go. That's great.
Ivan has the majority of all the tapes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do have a majority. You gave me a box of the cassettes, and then
a whole box of cassettes.
I have all the reels. In fact, I'm looking at like 40 different top boxes over here right now.
Oh my God! Do you have the one where we constantly sat there and talked about how to get to Max's Deli from weird places?
I think I do.
Gesundheit.
Thank you. I hear AM Mayhem, Mel Gibson, Payback, Motown Music, April '98, Palm Sunday. Oh my gosh!
Yeah, well, all I remember is
I would have been on that show. Yeah.
You were on that.
We were supposed to. I think, ironically, was it Scott you were working with at the time, getting us on some station in Albany? Could it have been Scott?
Could that have been Scott in Albany?
No, I don't think it was Scott.
I don't think it was Scott.
You were talking to somebody that you knew.
But you tried to record a show in Chicago that you'd send to New York for them to air.
Right.
And we were totally putting a wrench in the works.
Well, no, because we kept making jokes about how do you get from Albany to Max's Deli? Because Max's Deli was like a sponsor, and we'd make weird, stupid jokes about
Follow
that.
the Great Lakes. Go west, young man.
Shit,
Oh my gosh!
And we put in those jokes like every 5 seconds, and the worst part was it wasn't just like me or Mike who did it. Like Pankian was in there a couple times and hit those jokes, and
Robert
kept
Pankian.
going. We drove that thing into a ground.
I see here Robert's playing some music during the lockdown. So
yes, he's got his little bit that he does all live music, and he does a little conversation, kind of lighten up the mood of what's been happening in and around us. And I talk to him every now and again. He'll call up or he'll pop up when I do a live on Facebook and or Instagram, which I haven't done in a long time, but But that being said, when I was doing that, he'd show up every now and again. Yeah, I'm thinking.
So speaking of showing up, when are you doing your next Twitch show?
Yeah, Twitch.
Well, okay. See, my days are all screwed up being Monday, but I'm thinking. I might do it later in the week. I'm thinking maybe Wednesday, maybe Thursday.
Okay.
So as far as I know, probably shooting for Thursday, maybe a 10 to 2 on Thursday. Do you guys have anything particular you want me to play?
No.
Nope.
Not really.
Just play your songs, man.
Okay. Well, I ended up I got a great deal on some sleeves online, and hey, can't beat the price for 100 sleeves for only $8, and with free shipping, I couldn't pass it up, so I got a couple of hundred of them, and I just went into my crate and I unearthed a whole bunch of new music for the upcoming shows. So I'm real happy about that. Last night I straightened out my Motown section, which now I've been taking sections of the collection and selling them out, which I got someone who's been interested in buying them, piecemeal, which has been good. I've been giving nice deals for this particular, so that's always good. And because I just got too much shit, and I just want to start moving some of this out before the big move. I'm hoping next year falls in line. Looking forward to that. And just doing the whole music thing. But I'm thinking though, maybe by the time we get to record, News of the Squared, maybe I could set up something, and maybe after we go into break time, we can maybe elucidate our audience with a piece of old-fashioned Jeff Steiness.
Oh God. Oh boy.
That'll be fun. Just like, oh my God, this is the day I dreaded when Ivan was going to dredge up my past. Oh no!
Well, it's so funny because when we had the house, when we did the estate sale for the house, I had all this stuff, and I'm like, I haven't touched this stuff in like a decade or so. I'm like, there's just no real reason. I'm not going to use any of this stuff. When am I ever going to need it? It's all old. When am I going to use it? So I kind of was like, okay, I'm just going to kind of throw these out. And it was funny because I was like, I'm certainly not putting it on Facebook for anybody to hear or use. Some of these are like freaking nightmarishly bad. You know.
Oh, did I tell you? Speaking of nightmarishly bad, I know you guys probably read online that I'm recording a couple of cuts for Least of All Records.
Yeah, you're making a record.
Yeah, I'm making a record. I'm recording 2 songs.
Is it going to be like a spoken word? Is it going to be like a spoken word thing? Or
you're like Shatner's Rocket Man.
No. It's going to be 2 songs, 2 compositions of my own writing, my own playing, my own singing. And what's nice about Least of All, which of course, shout out to Least of All Records, which basically their idea is you can go ahead and record from the comforts of your house, and they would cut it directly to disc, and then they sell your disc, and they split the profits with you. So it's a wonderful little thing that they're doing there, and I was flattered that they actually got back to me and said, yeah, sure, we're getting your sessions set up. There's a advertising thing that they're doing for me right now. There's my profile picture for Least of All Records floating around on Instagram and Facebook, so I'm excited.
Well, let me know when they're for sale. Maybe I'll buy one and give it away.
Wow.
I'm kidding. I'll keep one. For
you do whatever you want.
I still haven't bought a record player. I need someone to help me pick one out.
Well, I got several here I can give you next time I see you.
We'll work it out.
The part of the problem is it's like, I have to get a record player. What? It's like 2020. I'm going to go get record players?
Well, yeah, they sell vinyl records at Target now.
Yeah, I know, but it's like...
there are people out there, the Renaissance of vinyl being what it is, and yeah, okay, and believe it or not, the fact that it being what it is
wait, that would be a cool idea. Now that I'm thinking about something,
what?
I'm surprised they haven't tried to do this.
What's that?
If you could put a DVD in a computer, why not create a vinyl record that was about the size of a DVD, that you could put into your computer and it could do it that way?
Believe it or not, they came close to that technology at Third Man.
Did they really?
Yeah. Third Man Records, they've got multiple platforms, and that one is currently in the works.
Okay.
And right now, the one thing that they started doing, which for me I thought, not so much. They ended up trying to resurrect the 3-inch format and a 3-inch record player. And they tried to sell a 3-inch record to play on the 3-inch record players, and there were several new bands actually releasing this little 3-inch disc and everything like that. I mean, I have yet to see any major fallout for that particular format. I haven't seen anybody that's actually jumped online for that, but I know that, they are currently working on other things. And another thing that has become a big thing that's been resurrected are what they call Retrovac machines, which, remember if you ever went to like a carnival or you went to a place, amusement park or something, you go into a booth and you end up doing one of those little records for like $1 or something.
Right. Great America had them.
Right, exactly.
Great
So
America had it too.
right. So what's happening is that a lot of people are resurrecting those machines again. In fact, if you go online, there are a lot of people that have, that have jumped on that whole Recovac machine technology, with of course updated technology. But yeah, and people are cutting their own records, using these machines. And Third Man, which of course is Josh White's record company and pressing plant in Detroit. They're basically working on that sensibility where you could go there and you could cut your own record, right from the booth, which is pretty neat. And they sound really good for what they are. And I'm very excited to hear what my recording's going to be like, because it's direct to disc. There's no tape in between or nothing, so I really have to be on it. But I don't mind because it's raw. And it's it's personal. It's one of a kind, and I'll be excited to see if something comes of it. I don't know. I've always wanted to make a record. Well, here's an opportunity with no initial cost to me to do it, which is really cool.
Free is good.
Yeah,
free.
Yeah. So in other words, you go ahead, you record, and this is how it's broken down. They sell the records for $25, $5 for the actual disc itself. They get $10, and I'll get $10. See, and that's it. That's the very simple math that's involved in this. And for those of you out there who are interested in doing this yourself, it's www:/leastofall LEESTAVALL.com. Check it out.
I still want an Ivan spoken word.
You want an Ivan spoken word? I can give you Ivan spoken word. Maybe I might do that for...
Ivan will have 2 spoken words for you when we're done recording.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, I know what they are. Were they the same ones that Lori Lightfoot used?
Right.
Well, I was thinking something along the lines of eating chicken parmesan.
Chicken
You got boner. Boom. Yeah.
So, Jeff, you got anything planned this week? Any events or public speaking and whatnot?
Do I have anything?
Through the video internets?
I'm in...
Public speaking.
I am actually working on material to do in Carolina later this week, and then I'm actually doing...
Jeff Caroline.
Time's going to say so much.
Well, no, not that much. It's not that much. It's 7 minutes. I only get 7 minutes. And then I'm doing something at Midwest Speaking Professionals this coming Sunday. I'm working on, ironically, I think I'm going to work on the same piece. So we'll see where that goes.
Well, best of luck with that.
Well, that's
good. I'm working on new material that I need for the future, and it's funny. I got to start looking around for some storytelling shows just to start doing it. My headache is it's like trying to get extra nights to do that on top of everything else that's going on between that and playing D&D on Tuesday nights, and that's gotten crazy, and we're stuck in Ravenloft, and that's never good.
Stupid birds.
Too many fucking vampires.
That sucks.
You buy Dracula's house.
Yeah.
You can sink your teeth in.
It's one of those where it's like, with the way Ravenloft is you get stuck getting there, and it's like, okay, let's get the fuck out of here. Well, no, what are things to look at? Yeah, that's nice. Let's get the fuck out of here. I don't want to be here. There's like all kinds of like werewolves,
nasty monsters around here.
Yeah, werewolves and zombies and vampires and all kinds of bullshit. And they're prominent. So fuck this. Let's go.
Yeah.
It's like I feel like Scooby and Shaggy. It's like, I'll go in the other direction.
Yeah.
Screw that. Yeah. No. How about you?
No, nothing planned for me this week. Just just doing the thing at work, just dealing with that. So,
I bet plywood will be popular.
Yeah, plywood, and fixing windows hopefully won't be too.
Screws.
Where's that guy who's like wringing his hands, leaning like behind the tree? Like glass companies right now be like. Anyway, yeah.
How about you, DJ Buffet? What you got going?
All right. Well, DJ Buffet is going to be doing the Twitch thing on Thursday from 10 to 2, and then
that's Thursday night, Friday morning.
Yeah, I was just saying. 10
right.
to 2, not
Central
10
time.
a.m.
Central Time, 10 p.m. Central Time. And also, I had some ideas for this cartoon that I've been developing, this graphic novel called Ivy that I've been developing. I spoke about it in shows previous, and finally got some ideas for the title card. And I also got the main ideas all spread out and written, and the theme and how everything's going to be designed. It's, I feel it's going to be really...
Okay, well, you're drawing, so that's cool.
Yeah, so I'm doing some drawing, and...
that's good to help pass... That's good.
Let's pass some time, do some story stuff. Also, for Father's Day, I'm doing songs for my father. I'm doing a Twitch show with all the music in Spanish for my father, which...
Well, we got a little ways to go until Father's Day.
That's only, 2.5 weeks out? 3 weeks?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so, I'm just, so I'm planning for that. In fact, I dug out a bunch of his music that, he enjoyed during his lifetime, plus some of the stuff he may have heard growing up in 1930s Puerto Rico, which I'm doing some research about, what was being played, over WKAQ back at that time and place, and I've managed to zero in on a bunch of the great bands of the 1930s and 40s, and I happen to have a lot of that in the archive for my good fortune. So it's gonna make for an interesting show. I'm real proud of this one because I'm just, besides doing it, for Father's Day, and for that fact that, I'm doing it for my father who, passed away. It'll be 2 months pretty soon, and so it'll be a wonderful testament to his musical taste, and it'll be a wonderful walking down memory lane as long as I kind of keep my face from getting screwy and end up not, raining on my shoes. But I think it'll be all right, and I think people will enjoy the adventure of finding out about my heritage, musically.
Okay. Yeah, that's on Ivan's Twitch channel. It's JAVANIVAN at twitch.tv, or just download the Twitch app.
There you go. Thank you so much, Mike.
All right. We're on Instagram and Twitter at SOTRT Podcast. We're on YouTube. Click the bell, subscribe to get new content. Of course, shout out to our birthday boy, our chief news correspondent for News of the Squared. Shout out to Scott!
Scott!
We hope you're enjoying your vacation and not listening to us.
Happy birthday to you. Smoke up a bowl or two. Walking forest with the bears, because we hope we were there. Happy birthday, Scott. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
You can download the show on, of course, all the crazy downloading apps of your podcasting device thingies. You've got Apple, you got Spotify, Google, PodBean, and Anchor. And, we're on YouTube as well. Send us an email at sotrtpodcast@gmail.com.
Also, you can, download us on banana and cherries and grapes and peaches and pears and...
No, just the one fruit.
Just the one fruit. Okay. Sorry.
So time for us to blast. Oh, did you guys watch the SpaceX launch Saturday?
Yes.
Yeah, that was awesome, man.
Awesome.
Well, why did they launch the two guys from Canada?
Yeah, Bob and Doug. Take off, eh? Astronauts Bob and Doug.
We're out of the atmosphere, eh?
There's no Elsinore beer at the space station, eh?
Hey, anybody want to play a little hockey, eh?
Yeah, time for us to take off. Take care, everybody.
Have a good one, everyone. Catch up with you on the next one.